Hello and welcome to this online College of Coding video tutorial series. This is video 2 in the series of intermediate breaky blocks in Unity. In this video, we'll be creating the environment for our game with some walls and a background. Before watching this video, it's recommended you've seen the previous video in the series, as well as the Introduction to Unity and Intermediate Programming Concept series. Alright, let's get started. Part 2 of the Breaky Blocks tutorial series creates the walls and environment for our game. To make the walls, click the Create menu in the hierarchy and choose a 3D object, a quad. Then in the inspector, rename the quad to wall right and set its scale to 0.1 on the x-axis and 10 on the y-axis. Then move it to the edge of the play area by setting its position on the x-axis to 5. You might need to double-click the wall in the hierarchy to focus the scene view on it. Just like we did for the player, remove the Mesh Collider component in the inspector. We're now going to replace it with a box collider. Click Add Component and then choose one from the Physics 2D section. Now our walls need a material. So in the project browser, go to the Materials folder and right-click to create a new material. Give it the name Wall. In the inspector, we get to choose a color for our material. Click the Albedo color picker and choose a light blue from the color mixer. Close it when you're done. Then back in the inspector, tick the emission box and a new color picker will appear. In this picker, choose a dark blue, but feel free to have some fun playing around with how different colors affect the material. To apply the material to the wall, we just need to drag it onto the wall in the scene view. Now we duplicate the wall right in the hierarchy to make the wall left, but we have to rename it in the inspector and change its X position to -5. When we hit test now, you might not expect that the paddle still moves straight through the walls, so we need to do a little more work. Let's add some tags to our walls so we can refer to them in a script. Click the Tags drop-down in the inspector and choose Add Tag. Click the plus sign to create a new tag and name it Wall Left. Then create another and name it Wall Right. Select the walls in the hierarchy one by one and use the Tag drop-down to assign it the correct tag. In a script, we can retrieve objects by looking for their tag in the scene. So open the paddle script and get ready to type some code. To find the walls during the game, we're using the Find Game object with Tag function to look for the tags on the walls within the scene. This is why we created the tags that distinguish between each wall. This complex looking line of code is doing a rather simple task. The mathf.clamp function lets us clamp the value of the xpos variable so that it never goes outside the range of the two walls. Testing the game now will let you see that the paddle can no longer move through the walls. Check it out. Now that we have more objects in the scene, we need to reposition the camera so that it can see them all. Select the main camera in the hierarchy and use the inspector to change the Y position to 0. We also need to change the projection of the camera from perspective to orthographic and set its size to 5.4. If you would like to know the difference between orthographic and perspective, check out the description in part 2 of the tutorial document because it's quite a big deal. Before we test the game next, let's duplicate the wall right in the hierarchy so we can use it to create a roof. After duplicating it, change its name in the inspector to roof. Also, remove the wall tag by setting it to untagged. Position the roof above the walls at 0 on the x-axis, 5 on the y, and leave its z at 0. But do rotate it on the z-axis to 90 degrees so that it sits like a roof. Select the main camera in the hierarchy and you'll see the camera preview window in the scene provides a way for us to double check the walls and roof are fully in frame. This saves us having to click the play button to double check such a small change. The final element of the environment we need to add to our project is the background. Find the background asset package and add it to your project, then click Import. When the package is loaded in, go to the Textures folder of the project browser and drag the background image into the scene. Change its scale in the inspector to 1.2 on the x-axis and 1.2 on the y-axis. Zero out its position, then adjust the y-axis to 5 so we can see the moon and adjust the z-axis to 5 so the background is behind the walls. Test the game and check out the awesomeness. Great work! You've finished the second part of the Breaky Blocks tutorial. Tune in next time. I'll see you in part 3.